Just wanted to let everybody know we will be recording this webinar, but it is just for our internal purposes and our member website. So it's not for external use. Feel free to keep the video off if you would rather not have your face out there. We totally understand that. So my name is Colleen Duran. I am the Chief Operating Officer with Restoration Industries Association. I'm really excited to be here. I'm fairly new with RIA, so this is a great opportunity for me to start getting to know you, our wonderful members. With me, I have two wonderful guys from Earthvisionz, Jeff Schott and Craig Hoff, but I'm going to wait a second until we start sharing our slides. Here we go. We want to be really mindful of everybody's time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And as I said, I have with us Jeff Schott, who is the president and co-founder of Earthvisionz, and Craig Hoff, who is the chief technical officer. And they're both going to give you some information about the wonderful products they have and how their products can help you to really develop your own business, help you generate revenue, and help you make your customers really happy. I am going to ask everybody to please put themselves on mute. That way we can hear our presenters throughout, unless they invite you to unmute yourselves throughout the presentation and maybe comment on anything. We will have time for questions and answers. We have like a middling break where we're going to have a little stop and ask if there's any questions. So please, throughout the presentation, put in the chat if you have any questions, and I'm going to be monitoring that throughout. Okay. Jeff and Craig, anything else that you want to add before we get started?
No, I think that was perfect, Colleen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Take it away.
So that's a good segue into thanking Colleen and the Restoration Industry Association. It's been a wonderful partnership. We probably should have joined the association long ago, but we're a member just for our second year now. And I just want to thank all you guys for taking the time to be on the webinar and talk a little bit about the history of Earthvisionz in the restoration space, building software and our map command center for the restoration industry. We've mostly worked so far with large national companies, and they've been instrumental in helping us guide and build the platform that sort of combines a map platform where you can map all kinds of assets and then send alerts out and share map views of the platform. We have worked with these industry leaders to sort of advance the technology from being weather alerting, mapping, asset monitoring, to being an entire client communication system. And when we say we can help you delight your customers and grow revenues, that's really what we're talking about. We help you communicate with your customers and share data and map views of things that are affecting and damaging their assets. And they tend to really like it when you're providing the service to them. Examples of companies we have worked with through our restoration partners to provide data include big real estate companies like Blackstone and JLL, managers of restaurant, retail, and hotel chains, including La Quinta Hotels, Cheesecake Factory, manufacturers that include Blackstone Tire, Whirlpool, banks including Wells Fargo and HSBC, I'm sorry. So these are all examples of companies in real estate, banking, finance, insurance. Chubb is one example that our restoration customers have communicated all kinds of data to them about things affecting their assets. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to our CTO, Craig Hoff. And we have a very visual platform, so we'd like to start showing you exactly what we're doing here.
All right, thanks, Jeff. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today for this webinar. So what I'm going to do is describe what vAlert is, the core functionality of this product, and some of the use cases related to the restoration industry based on our several years of experience working with partners in that industry. And then, as Colleen mentioned, we'll stop twice, once in the middle and once at the end to take some questions. And again, feel free to put any questions in the chat as we go along, and we will get to those at a couple of points. So here's what's at the core of what we do. V-Alert allows you to map your properties, whether they be fixed properties like offices or other kinds of industrial equipment, telecommunications towers, etc., your mobile assets, your trucks and trailers, even where your personnel are. Visualize any critical threat events that are threatening them, and then send alerts to your team, to your clients, to let everyone, all of the stakeholders know what's going on. So that's V-Alert at a glance, and then what we're going to do is kind of dig into the specifics of how we do that and what that looks like and how it works. So first question is, who needs V-Alert? Is this something that's relevant to you? And the way I would answer that is by saying, well, consider the number of threats, critical events that have occurred even in the past 12 months. The hurricanes that made landfall in 2021, including the devastating Hurricane Ida in Louisiana. The number of wildfires that burned throughout the United States last year that did about $70 billion of damages in the US. And then that in the face of ongoing public health and safety threats, we're finally coming out, it looks like, maybe of the COVID-19 issues and some of the challenges, but even with that, there are more variants that could come back. There are just lots of things, natural disaster, weather, civil unrest, public health and safety, so many things that can affect you and affect your clients all the time, and that's what we're here to help with. And 2022 is likely to be another busy year, unfortunately. I put up here a drought map, and you can see that a huge part of the west and north of the US, especially the Southwest, is in severe, even exceptional drought, which means that we're likely to have another serious wildfire season this year, as well as hurricanes and floods and all of those kinds of events that happen year after year. And so that's what V-Alert is here to help with. So fortunately, V-Alert is an easy-to-use browser-based tool that helps you to make appropriate decisions about your geographically disparate assets in a timely fashion, reducing risk and saving you money. V-Alert provides you with point-and-click tools to help you find your assets, identify the events affecting them, and take action. How does it work? First, V-Alert makes it easy for you to upload your property inventory, your locations, your vendors' locations, your clients' locations, etc., via spreadsheets or via our API, and view them on a map. This data will be there ready for you when disaster strikes and you need to access it. What do we do with all of that data? V-Alert makes it easy to send lists of affected properties to your vendors and customers. For example, you could use a report like this crosstab tool report to let your customers know that you have an office or partners close to all of their locations, helping you gain their trust and earn their business. You can also drill into individual locations to preview the property visually. This zooms in the map view to display a high-resolution image of the property. On the left side, an info pane is displayed showing several data attributes for this property. These can be whatever you like. Here we're showing fields like facility name, property management company, anchor tenants, but you can customize this to be the information that you want to have available to you and or your clients at a glance, at your fingertips whenever you need it. And then we can also provide additional data points through our data partners with information like building ownership, insured values, lot sizes, etc. You can also geotag other types of media, including photos, documents, overlay images on the map. It's like this leasing plan for this commercial shopping facility in South Carolina. You can tag interior and exterior panos, display 3D models. For example, if you're using Matterport, those can be integrated and displayed right within the product. V-Alert is packed with all kinds of tools to allow you to assess and prepare, plan, and respond to events. For example, you can visually designate specific areas of interest, including property boundaries or sales territories. Use street view imagery to get a ground level perspective on the facility. Perform measurements. In this case, we're going to take a measurement of the building's footprint. And you can save all of these results to the profile for later use and come back to them when you need them. You can also use the extensive library of data sets and imagery layers built into VAlert to do threat assessment, as with this floodplain. So, for example, we can access historical imagery to see how this correlates to damage that occurred during a severe flooding event in October of 2015. Note the mud and debris in the parking lot, and as well as the standing water near the base of the building, showing that there was indeed flood impacts to this structure during this event, as you could have expected from the fact that it was within a designated floodplain. Earthvisionz has also developed integrations with many other applications. For example, we've integrated with Verizon Connect for GPS fleet tracking, with Microsoft Azure for single sign-on authentication, as well as many other integrations. We've also developed several mobile applications that integrate with VAlert, including our Field Team Tracker application, which automates personnel tracking and job management, and Drive Tracker, which helps you to get in and out of hazardous places quickly and safely with world-class route optimization and detailed information on current road conditions. And I think Colleen's going to put a link into the chat. We had advertised with this that you could have an extended free trial for Drive Tracker. So you'll have that link there, and I think that'll also get sent out in a follow-up email after this as well. Feel free, if you're interested, to sign up for a trial and try it out and let us know what you think. All right, so I think that there's a lot just in that first part. So before we dive into threat assessment and what we do specifically with the kinds of threats and events that occur, we wanted just to stop for a second or two and see if there were any questions on what we've talked about so far.
Thanks, Craig. So I did have someone send me a message through, like, just directly to me, and I'm taking notes as I go. So they were wondering, is there a limit to how many properties can be added, and how do you do that? How do you get them in and out?
Right.
And then let me pause right there. If anybody else has any other questions, feel free to send it to me directly, send it to the whole group. I'll keep an eye on that. But Craig, go ahead and I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, absolutely, Colleen, thanks. So there's no limit to the number of properties that you can have in the system. We have customers who are working with hundreds of thousands of properties at any one time. And so we found with the restoration industry, usually they don't have that many properties, and it's maybe in the tens of thousands at most. And so that's really not an issue. We can certainly accommodate that. In terms of the how we get them in and out of the system, there's several different ways you can do that, but the most common, most popular ways are, for example, if you have a spreadsheet that you prepare, a lot of times the other kinds of systems you may be using that have that information already will allow you to export your data into a spreadsheet. That could be dropped directly on our FTP server, and we pick it up automatically and load it into the system. And then all of the alerts, which we're going to be talking about in a minute, and the other kind of reporting and analysis in this tool are then immediately available for you to use with that set of data that you provided. If you've got an IT operation and you want a little bit more sophisticated integration, we also provide a really robust and full-featured API to allow you to have your data synchronized continuously with our system so that you're always up to date.
Great. I don't see any other questions in the chat now, but as we're going through, again, reminder, please put any questions in the chat, either directly to me or to everyone, and we will definitely get to those at the end.
Okay, sounds good. We'll go ahead and just complete the presentation and then take a look at what other questions might come up at that point. So let me share my screen again. And we'll continue. All right, so once you've uploaded your property inventory into the system, you're ready to start receiving alerts. VAlert will notify you, your vendors, and your customers automatically in the event of a threat. You can receive alerts in a variety of means, including emails, SMS text messages, daily spreadsheet reports, and also through our REST-based API. And what you're seeing is an example of what one of those email alerts might look like. You should note that you can add your own branding to these alerts. Delight your customers by keeping them informed all the time so they don't have to worry. You've got it under control. Your customers receive alerts, immediately see your brand and your phone number prompting them to call you. Once you receive the alert, your customers receive the alert, just click on the View Alert button and you can view the alert on a map. You can share this with your vendors and your customers to keep everyone on the same page. Private labeled command center, and this becomes your system with your customers and your offices all over it. Alerts, those email alerts I mentioned also come standard with spreadsheets that have those lists of affected properties. And again, these alerts are generated uniquely for each person who needs to receive them. So what they get in that alert, what information is there, what properties they see is based on what they are concerned about. If this is your clients, they only see their own data. If it's for individuals within operations, it's for the area of responsibility that they have. So let's dig in a little bit deeper. We know that there are alerts that we send out, but the alert is a lot more than just an alerting platform that tells you that something's going to happen. It also allows you to do data analysis and do decision support so that you can prepare, respond to the kinds of events that may occur. So for example, you can see this view shows us in advance of Hurricane Ida, when we were able to give more than a week's advance warning of landfall in Louisiana and help our customers plan for the intensity of the storm at various locations. The view shows the projected path of the storm, as well as the predicted precipitation for the next 24-hour period. Note that predictive alerts are much more precise than those of our competitors. We don't just give you a vague region where bad weather may happen, but we let you know the precise level of impact in each area. And you can filter the reports to get only the information when it rises to a sufficient level of severity, eliminate time-consuming noise, and get just what you need when you need it. During the storm, V-Alert can help by monitoring real-time conditions, including precipitation, storm surge, wind speeds, road closures, and a lot more to keep you informed on what's happening as it happens. Here you can see that the storm shut down most major highways in and out of New Orleans for a number of hours after the storm passed. You can use this information to make sure affected area. Afterwards, we can help by providing supplemental imagery through our imagery partners with satellite, aerial, and drone providers, allowing you to compare views from before the event with what happened after the event happened. This can allow you to visualize likely damage even when the area has been evacuated and there's no physical access to property, giving you the ability to do virtual property inspections. This imagery of Grand Isle, Louisiana was captured less than 2 days after Hurricane Ida made landfall. Note the extensive impacts to this property due to both high winds and storm surge. And we can, again, kind of toggle between these two views to get a sense for what the impact was from the storm. Here's another view. This is a flooding in Lumberton, North Carolina after Hurricane Florence. Another disaster type we specialize in are wildfires. This screen shows the Marshall Fire, which started burning right here in Boulder, Colorado on December 30th, 2021 around noon. And you might notice the small little property icon here. This is the actual office where Jeff and I are sitting today, which was just barely missed by this fire, which started out on the western end and then expanded onto the east. By using satellite-based thermal sensors, we were able to pick up the fire and let our customers know about it before perimeter data about the fire became available. As soon as that information did become available, we were able to share that as well, so our customers knew exactly what the extent was of the affected area. In our alerts, you can click on the links shown in the left-hand pane for additional information. So the information there includes things like what's the containment of the fire, what's expected to be contained, how big is it, who's fighting the fire, and then links to supplemental information like this evacuation zone report. You can also access damage assessments, such as this one for the Marshall Fire, with the red showing the structures that were completely destroyed and yellow showing structures that were damaged. Here's another one for the campfire in Paradise, California. This was an area that was destroyed in late 2018. We can compare that to the post-disaster satellite imagery and see that this was a pretty accurate prediction of what was going to happen because of that storm. When severe flooding occurs, you can count on our network of flood gauges to give you precise, up-to-the-minute information about what's happening. In this example, the Mississippi River is about 6 feet over flood bank full, causing minor flooding in Baton Rouge. We can use additional information like hydrographs to tell you where the flooding is in its process. Has it reached its peak? When is it going to expect it to subside? How bad is it going to get? Letting you to plan to begin remediation work in the area. Our customers also rely on us to provide precise reports on snowfall, including local mitigation regulations, as well as FEMA disaster declaration alerts that distinguish areas with individual assistance from those with just public assistance. And that's just a few of the kinds of alerts. In total, we have more than 140 different types of critical events, weather events, and so forth that we track through our system every single day, giving you peace of mind that if you're using what we have, that you know exactly what's going on. So I'm going to turn this over to Jeff for a final few words, and then we'll open it back up for any remaining questions.
Thanks, Craig. I thought that was very informative. I think, since the topic of this webinar is delighting your clients and growing revenues, we want to at least try and make clear how we help you guys do that. And you saw some examples. You can brand alerts. But I think where this is evolving is our restoration company customers are providing analyzed data to their clients. They're telling them where they are in the restoration recovery process. They're sharing map views. They're not just sending alerts around. There's a lot of that going on. And we found that that's kind of a commodity. But when you're sending an alert and then enabling your customers to see their properties on the map, see the threat visualized, see where your teams are and how you're responding, it keeps them close to you. And they're going to call you when something happens, especially if you put phone numbers and attach PDF files with statements of your technical expertise, your capabilities. It helps you retain your customers forever because they're seeing that you're committed to responding to their properties when there's a disaster. So it's really become a client communication system. And that's where we think if you're proactive and you really use it to stay in touch with your customers, that they will give you more work, they will refer other jobs to you. And we have quite a bit of evidence that happens. And we'd be happy to discuss that with you. If you want to learn more, please send me an email and we'll talk more about how your specific operation can use this platform to make money.
All right, thanks, Jeff. So I think we'll turn it back over for a little bit more question and answer.
Okay, great. So I think you've actually already answered one of the questions that popped up. Someone asked, how can this make me money? So I think you've touched on that pretty well. Is there anything else you wanted to add, though, to that?
Well, it's usually about now we get how much does this cost? For a long time, this was a six-figure annual software license. That's basically for national companies. But we have priced this in a new way where most of what you've seen here, if you're a 1 state or 1 to 10 state restoration company, that's your service area, you can enter into business with us for about $10,000 a year. The pricing model is now based on how many properties you're putting on the map. And if it's in the 1,000 to 5,000 vicinity, you're in the 10,000 range to license this software. So we also offer some discounts through RIA. So you guys have all come to us through RIA, so you're entitled to get that discount. But to get more precise pricing, how many states you serve, how many properties you'd like to map, we'd like to have a direct conversation with you.
You know, Jeff, I think that's really great. And I think it really speaks to what RIA does as a whole, is really tries to recognize that different companies have different bandwidths for this. And you're trying to recognize the capability, you know, that people have to participate. So I think it's great that you make it accessible on all these different levels. So thank you for that. And as Jeff mentioned, because you're an RIA member, we have a great partnership with Earthvisionz. You're entitled to a discount, and they'll be happy to follow up with you on that. So let me see if there's any other questions. I know someone had to duck out. I just want to see if there's anything else. Did anybody else have any questions? At this point, if you just wanted to unmute, that would be okay, because you wouldn't be interrupting a presentation or anything like that. So anything else that anybody would like to know? Okay. Well, I'm not surprised, because you guys put together a really solid presentation. It was very interesting, really informative. As Jeff and Craig mentioned, I'm going to be sending an email following this up with the link if you didn't get it in the chat, but I'll be following up with that link in your email, as well as a couple of other links that we think might be interesting to you. One other thing I am going to put in the chat before everybody leaves, though, we want to make sure that if you haven't already, please sign up to attend the RIA convention coming up in Reno in just a few weeks. We would love to see you there. So I'm going to put that in the chat right now, and that'll also be in the email that I follow up with tomorrow. All right. Well, thank you again so much, everybody, for coming today. We really appreciate it. And if there's anything either I can do on behalf of RIA or Jeff or Craig can do regarding Earthvisionz, you'll get our emails and all of this information in the follow-up email as well. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you both.